Good morning. I hereby call to order this 8th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2025. We welcome everyone joining us here in the room today, as well as those joining us on the live stream. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At today's meeting, which is open to the public, the Commission will act on various matters. Since adequate forums have been made available for public participation in cases before the Commission, there was no opportunity for the public to address the Commission at this public meeting. The public meeting motions, statements, and video will be available on the Commission's website later today. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 27th, 2025. I would like to recognize Commissioner Yanora as the editor of the minutes. Commissioner Yanora.
Chairman, I've reviewed the minutes of the March 27th, 2025 public meeting and move that they be approved as submitted.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Commissioner Yanora. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to today's agenda. Let us begin on page 1 with matters presented by the Bureau of Audits. I move that the Commission adopt the Management Efficiency Investigation Audit Report and Implementation Plan of Aqua Pennsylvania Incorporated and Peoples Natural Gas Company, LLC, and release the report to the public. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 2, matters presented by Director Moore and the Bureau of Consumer Services. I move that the Commission adopt the petition of Peoples Natural Gas Company, LLC, to amend its 2019 to 2024 Universal Service and Energy Conservation Plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have
Commissioner Zerfas.
just some bench comments here. But before the Commission today, you heard that we have the petition of Peoples Natural Gas Company to amend its 2019-2023 Universal Service and Energy Conservation Plan to allow Peoples to initiate auto-enrollment of low-income home energy assistance program, LIHEAP recipients, with significant balances into its customer assistance program, the CAP program, to permit auto recertification and to waive income documentation requirements for CAP applicants that have had LIHEAP in the past 2 years. Peoples filed its petition pursuant to a settlement stipulation approved in the most recent base rate case proceeding. Because of some of the nuances of the petition, we're going to be denying the petition, but I continue to support the settlement stipulation that was approved in the rate case. I generally believe that auto enrollment and auto recertification of eligible customers into a public utilities cap, particularly after a customer has already qualified to receive other similar program benefits, it fosters coordination among customer assistance programs and ensures a streamlined, efficient approach to customer enrollment. So even though we're denying it, it's without prejudice. I encourage Peoples to file a new petition. I am a little concerned about using LIHEAP data, given the uncertainty of the program or money going forward. So I will caution that if LIHEAP data is not a viable option in the future, maybe Peoples could consider other innovative ways to efficiently enroll eligible customers into these programs. Like maybe it's through the expansion of their partnership with Peoples Energy Analytics, which enables the company to identify at-risk customers, which I think is a real novel way to leverage technology to help their customers. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfas. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 3, and matters presented by Director Hafner in the Office of Special Assistance. I move that the Commission adopt the recommended opinion and order involving the formal complaints of Liza Mouses and Roy Cummings versus the Metropolitan Edison Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nora. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 4 of today's agenda, I move that the commission adopt the recommended opinion and order involving the informal investigation of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Mifflin Energy Corporation. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? I do have a statement in this matter. It's a conflict statement. Before joining my staff as legal counsel, Stephanie Weimer was employed in the Commission's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement and worked on this investigation. Please note she has not advised me in this matter. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 4 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the recommended opinion and order involving the formal complaint of Siddhartha Banerjee versus the PICO Energy Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 5 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the recommended opinion and order involving the formal complaint of William Petch versus PPL Electric Utilities Corporation. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a statement.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter my statement into the record as if I read it in its entirety. This is a complaint involving a foreign load investigation at a rental building that had 4 apartments. The fact pattern is a little different in that there was actually foreign load at apartment number 3, but there was an erroneous finding of foreign load at apartment number 1. PPL conducted a virtual foreign load inspection, and they've been doing that since COVID. With that, the PPL employee uses Google Meet to call someone at the service address. That person walks them around and turns various items on while PPL remotely controls the power at the service address. So based on that virtual foreign load inspection, PPL transferred service to the landlord complainant, Mr. Petch, back in February of 2023. So in February, Mr. Petch called and he faxed PPL and he advised that he did correct the wiring at apartment 3. And he also asked PPL on multiple occasions to send a representative out to inspect the building and the meter situation for apartment number 1. But they did not do that. And in the initial decision, which was issued April 17, 2024, it granted in part and denied in part Mr. Petch, the landlord's formal complaint. Specifically, the decision found that PPL incorrectly transferred foreign load from apartment 1 to the landlord, and that PPL provided unreasonable service and assessed a civil penalty of $2,500. And today what we're considering are the exceptions filed by PPL. So with the facts that are on the record, I actually support the initial decision, finding that there was unreasonable service. The virtual foreign load investigation and the fact that the company did not send a representative out to the building, despite multiple requests for an in-person inspection. This resulted in the incorrect transfer of the financial responsibility for that account to the landlord, and then there was quite a delay in correcting that transfer. So at a minimum, if PPL had visited the service address personally, they would have been in a better place to not only review that meter situation, but also speak to the landlord and the other tenants to find out actually what was going on. So, and I understand that PPL began doing these virtual foreign load inspections because of the pandemic. And I agree that a virtual inspection will work sometimes, but I don't think it needs to be an across-the-board rule, because sometimes these wiring situations are just really complicated. And at this point, we're a number of years past the pandemic, and I would recommend that the company just take a look at this practice. So based upon these facts, including the fact that Mr. Pesh asked for an in-person investigation on multiple occasions, I agree with the ALJ. But the one thing I do not agree with the ALJ on is that $2,500 civil penalty. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 4-1, noting the dissent of Vice Chair Barrow. Continuing on page 5 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion the remaining item on page 5, beginning with the formal complaint of Dennis Horn versus the Pennsylvania American Water Company, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 6, ending the omnibus with a formal complaint of Christina Steinauer versus the First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 7 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the recommended opinion and order involving the former complaint of Jennifer Patora versus the UGI Utilities Incorporated Gas Division. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? I do have a motion in this matter. I would ask Vice Chair Barrow to chair the meeting.
Chairman DeFrank, you are recognized for purposes of your motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Before the Commission for consideration today is the disposition of the exceptions filed by Jennifer Patora in response to an initial decision issued by the Office of Administrative Law Judge. The initial decision dismissed Ms. Patora's complaint against UGI Utilities, Inc. Gas Division because it was legally insufficient. The presiding officer determined that Ms. Patora's complaint was legally insufficient because she had previously been barred from initiating formal or informal complaints against UGI regarding the arrearages on her natural gas service account until those arrearages are paid in full. UGI stated in its answer in new matter that Ms. Patora was previously barred from filing further complaints because she had been found to have abused the administrative process in a prior proceeding. UGI added that Ms. Patora has not paid her arrearages in full and that her balance with UGI was over $6,000. In response to the initial decision, Ms. Patora filed exceptions which state, in part, her position that she should be allowed to have a hearing to discuss her issues. Barring a consumer from filing a complaint against a utility is a significant measure that has only been used by the Commission in certain limited circumstances. Nonetheless, I agree that the initial decision that dismisses Ms. Patora's complaint on a preliminary basis. Here, Ms. Patora has filed 5 complaints against UGI. The first and second complaints were dismissed with prejudice by the Commission for Ms. Patora's failure to appear for the hearings and prosecute the complaints after she was granted continuances in both dockets. In response to her third complaint, the administrative law judge determined that Ms. Patora had a history of abusing the Commission's process and precluded her from filing informal or formal complaints against UGI regarding arrearages on her natural gas service until her existing arrearages are paid in full. The fourth complaint was dismissed by the Commission because it was the same as the prior 3 formal complaints, and Ms. Patora was barred from filing such complaints. As a result, I believe Ms. Patora's exceptions in this case should be denied and the initial decision adopted. In addition, I move today to direct the Secretary's Bureau to establish internal processes and procedures that ensure that those few customers who have previously been barred from the Commission from filing complaints due to their determined abuse of the complaint process are indeed unable to have their complaint accepted by the Commission, unless any future complaint is accompanied by evidence showing compliance with the requirements necessary to alleviate the complainant from their barred status. Such requirements will be outlined in any underlying Commission order establishing the barred status. The Secretary's Bureau is directed to work in conjunction with the Office of Executive Director and other relevant commission bureaus as necessary to establish these processes and procedures. Establishing such processes and procedures is important. There is time and expense associated with, among other things, docketing the complaint, the respondent answering the complaint, a dispositive preliminary motion being filed, and both the presiding officer and the commission addressing that preliminary motion as necessary. Such a process requires substantial commission resources to hear complaints that should not have been accepted by the commission. We strongly encourage all consumers who feel they have been aggrieved by a utility to raise those grievances with the commission, either formally or informally, to ensure they have notice and opportunity to be heard regarding their vital utility services. However, consumers cannot use the commission's process to avoid paying for utility services they have consumed. Therefore, I move that 1, the initial decision of Administrative Law Judge John M. Coogan dated September 26, 2024 is hereby adopted. 2, that the exceptions filed by Jennifer Patora dated October 16, 2024 are denied. 3, within 90 days of the entry of this order, the Secretary's Bureau is directed to develop internal commission processes and procedures in which any complaint received from a complainant who has previously been barred from filing a complaint after having been found to abuse the commission's procedures will not be accepted or docketed by the Secretary's Bureau unless accompanied by proof documenting satisfactory compliance with the requirements established by the commission for the complainant to be relieved of their barred status. And 4, that the Office of Special Assistance prepare an order consistent with this motion. Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion on the motion? I'm going to be a concur and result only on this one. Any other? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. On final adoption, is there any objection to using the previous roll call? Hearing none, the recommendation is adopted as amended by the motion by a vote of 5-0. Gavel's yours.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Continuing on page 7, I move that the Commission adopted an omnibus motion, the remaining item on page 7, beginning with the application of Euphrates Trans LLC, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 8, ending the omnibus with the application of Safeways Transportation. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 9, and matters presented by Director Diskin in the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. I move that the Commission adopted an omnibus motion, both items on page 9, beginning with the petition of TransSource Pennsylvania LLC, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 10, both items on page 11, both items on page 12, and both items on page 13, ending the omnibus with the petition of First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Yanora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 14, and matters presented by Chief Counsel Screven and the Law Bureau. I move that the Commission adopted an omnibus motion, both items on page 14, beginning with the application of PennDOT to alter a public crossing in York County, and ending the omnibus with the ANOPR on cybersecurity, self-certification, and cyber incident reporting. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. That concludes our regular agenda today. Now turning to the supplemental carrying agenda. It should be noted that the matter presented by the Office of Special Assistance regarding the proposed opinion and order in the formal complaint of Pamela Scott versus the Duquesne Light Company has been postponed to the public meeting of May 8th, 2025. That concludes all agenda items to be considered today, but before we adjourn, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Zerfus for remarks on Earth Day. Commissioner Zerfus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Each year on April 22nd, we mark Earth Day, a time to raise environmental awareness and encourage meaningful action. Earth Day's 2025 theme is Our Power, Our Planet. A diverse energy portfolio, which includes renewable projects, including hydro, renewable natural gas, and biogas as examples, help to reduce emissions and stabilize the grid. But we all know that more can be done to work toward a more sustainable future. We can always get out of our cars and enjoy more walking and riding bicycles more. We can recycle, we can compost. And speaking of recycling, this year's theme of Our Power, Our Planet also underscores the push to reduce plastic waste, including a global campaign calling for a 60% cut in plastic production by 2040. So this Saturday, I once again plan to join Executive Director Jennifer Barrier, who organized a group of the PUC family for the 13th annual Great Harrisburg Litter Cleanup, which is hosted by Pennsylvania's Green Gov and Tri-County Community Action. Together, we will be assigned our own section of Harrisburg where we will pick up litter, and I'm sure that the team will encounter plastic as part of our litter cleanup, so in the spirit of this year's theme, we will be doing our part. But Earth Day is a reminder that protecting the planet is not a seasonal task, it is a lifelong responsibility, and the best way to help make change is by getting involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfas. Before we conclude, this week we also recognize Administrative Professionals Day, and an important group of team members who continue to play a pivotal role in our day-to-day operations and successes here at the PUC. Our PUC administrative professionals have diverse and demanding responsibilities, often operating behind the scenes to ensure that every day runs smoothly, deadlines are met, and tasks are accomplished seamlessly. The combined efforts of our PUC administrative professionals ensure that the Commission can meet our critical mission of balancing the needs of consumers and utilities. To each of you, I express gratitude for your diligent and conscientious service that you bring to our workplace each and every day. Your commitment, efficiency, and overall efforts do not go unnoticed and are deeply valued. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, I join our directors, managers, and supervisors in recognizing and thanking all administrative staff for their hard work and dedication in helping to move our agency forward. I invite all of our PUC administrative professionals joining us here in the audience today to please stand and be recognized. Thank you for a job well done. And finally, we wish to remind you of the en banc hearing we will be hosting this afternoon in hearing room 1 of the Commonwealth Keystone building here in Harrisburg. The hearing will explore the impact of data centers and large load customers on the state's electric grid. Visit the PUC website to access the full agenda and list of panelists. The hearing will be live streamed on our website, and a recording of the hearing will be posted to the en banc hearing webpage tomorrow. If there is any other business to come before the Commission, is there any objection to adjourning today's meeting? Hearing none, we are adjourned.